guys? Hey, this is Dr. Sean, or Reverend Sean over at the Center Path, and don't forget to subscribe, and later you can like and stuff like that. But today we're going to go over idiot compassion. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things that we need to develop when we're doing when we're on our path for doing some Buddhist kind of philosophical and spiritual practices, and that's compassion and wisdom. Those two have to be equally balanced out, because if they're not, if you're not, and not too wise really, I mean, because wise you maybe become aloof and too separated from things. We have to again look at our definitions of wisdom and our definitions of compassion. Okay, compassion is being with the feelings of others. It's like understanding their feelings. Compassion with them, basically, is what it is. And wisdom is a development of understanding things as they really are. Right? That would make sense. Now, if you're very understanding of the things the way they really are, you may become too distant from people or too distant from situations, and it's kind of a weird kind of thing, and very arguable, of course, because you would assume that someone who's very wise would automatically be compassionate, and someone who's compassionate would automatically be wise, but that's not the truth. That's not even so. One of the things that happens, I have when I was in temple some years ago, I remember I was sitting with a man, and he was saying, like, I have a big problem with this, Buddhist stuff, because this guy comes and he sends us materials that we order, and he always shortchanges us on those. And I tried to be compassionate and say, oh, there was a mistake. He said he would fix it. He never did. In fact, the next time he sent stuff with more shortages. And I'm like, well, there comes a point where your compassion is not helping them, and they're relying on your soft-heartedness, actually, is what it would be, to take advantage of you. And that's where we have to develop some wisdom and some little bit of backbone, because it's people think that if you're Buddhist you don't argue, and if you're Buddhist you don't have any problems in life, and your inability to be angry and all of this kind of stuff. And I'll tell you right now, that's not true. Like I've said before, I've studied with thousands of monks. Literally, I've met with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of monks over the past 20 years, and I have seen them angry. I have seen them argue. I have seen them cry. I've seen them laugh. I've seen them giggle. I've seen them, snort and happiness. Those kind of funny things. I've seen that, and I've seen them very frustrated. And the difference is that they catch it very quickly. They catch that they're about to blow their top, for example, and they'll kind of let it go and step back and try to reevaluate the situation. Now, there's times we're human, and those are human emotions. And one of the things in Buddhism we're trying to express and really be in those emotions when they're there, but not be too attached to them, and not be too be upset by them. Okay, I mean, that's something that we have to really work on with this kind of thing. Being too compassionate, okay, where you're giving up stuff from yourself, is a wonderful thing to think of. And it's a wonderful, people, they say the story of a monk walking through the woods, and he saw a starving tiger and baby cubs, so he cut off his arm and gave it to the tiger so it could feed itself and feed the cubs. Well, that's a very wonderful, compassionate thing to do. And it shows that selflessness. But it's an example. Now, why couldn't he have left and come back with some food for the animals? I don't know. I mean, was he too far away, or something like that? And then there's a point of letting nature take its course as well. I mean, that was kind of a drastic kind of thing, but it was an example. And you can't do that too many times, can you? I mean, people have donated their own bodies for these kind of things too, but that doesn't give you a chance to live on to the next moment. Of course, these are we would consider very actualized, hyper-actualized people that are highly high-level practitioners, right, who are very holy and therefore beyond the limitations of the body, so giving off a part of the body is no problem. But we need our bodies, and we need them to be whole and complete, otherwise our practice will suffer. And this is one of the things that, later on, the Bodhidharma, who went to China, had started to have them practice a little bit more aggressively and try to practice some martial arts and some stretching and some yoga kind of things. And that helped them in their process of meditation because they sat too much. So it was a firm compassion is what really we need. We don't want to be idiot compassion. We need to temper compassion with wisdom. So anyway, this is Reverend Sean over at the Center Path. Go ahead and download the cheat sheet for the entire Basic Buddhist course that we're doing. And there's about 30 different things on there. It's at the www.centerpath.org. And don't forget to subscribe at the bottom to get more like this. And leave me a comment or a question, because this is always open for conversation. And that's the whole idea we're doing this. Remember, I'm not a Dharma teacher, really. I'm more of a Dharma tutor. And because I've studied this stuff for about 25 years, well, maybe 30 years I started, I guess. I enjoy the discussion part and the contemplation part, and that's what we need to get into. So may you be compassionate, but may you be wise. Okay, hopefully you guys can temper those two things and not be taken advantage of. And this is an important thing to contemplate. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. Another note on idiot compassion. When you're trying to be compassionate with somebody or some process or yourself, because it's very important to be compassionate with yourself too, right? To have that compassion to see the troubles that you're going through, understand them, and overcome them. When you're doing that, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on others for being the way that they are. You know, don't fault a pig for not having the neck of a giraffe, right? We say stuff like that. And it's something that we have to understand, that there's sometimes that people are the way they are. Now, if it's a family member that has, like, say, a drug problem or a drinking problem or some kind of mental issue or some kind of physical issue or whatever, financial issue, it's very nice to help them. But sometimes helping people is not giving them everything. Sometimes helping them is having opportunity and space. Sometimes that's the most compassionate thing to do. Sometimes the most compassionate thing to do is nothing. Sometimes the most compassionate thing to do is to sit and just listen. So if you can, and it's really, really hard, because you then become codependent if you're too compassionate and not wise, and you're giving someone extra, sneaking them a little extra here and there or something like that when they need to be standing on their own 2 feet. They'll start to rely on you. And if you're always there to pick them up, they'll always lean towards you. And it's a very difficult thing to do, especially for parents. You want your kids to go out and be on their own, but you want to take care of them in some ways. Or like, you don't want them to suffer like you did, right? That's a very good thing to do. You don't want them to suffer. You don't want them to have problems like you did. So what you do is you support them too much. Okay, there comes a point where eventually you have to let go of the bicycle. They'll learn to balance by themselves. The training wheels have come off. You let go and you watch them ride. Now they're going to fall. This is what life is about. You're going to fall, and it depends on what you do with that, right? It depends on what they do with that. If you've practiced well and you've taught them well and you've learned well, then you get back up and you brush the dirt off. You heal your wounds. You get back on the bike. So that's a second thought on idiot compassion. So don't be an idiot about compassion. Be compassionate. Understand that others are suffering too. And you are too. So take care of yourself. Take care of others as best you can. You can't empty, if your bowl has nothing in it, you can't offer it to anybody. Right? You can't offer nothing. You have to have something in your bowl first. You have to take care of yourself first. Then you can take care of others. You can take care of yourself first if there's extras. Of course you can share. This is one of the practices we have in Buddhism. When we eat, we try to be very mindful of the amount that we eat and the times that we eat and what we eat. And we're trying to be compassionate with the world. We're trying to work together with the world to make it a better place. Trying to use that food as fuel for us. Did we deserve that fuel? Did we deserve that food? Do we understand the processes and the trouble it went to get that food to me? Am I worthy of it? Have I done work that's worthy of that? That's a good thing to do. That's a development of compassion. When you decide, that you want to help someone, go ahead and help them. Helping is always better than not helping. But you also have to be careful of yourself. I worked as an EMT for many years, and one of the things we had to watch out for was scene safety. And this is what you have to watch out for yourself too. Whenever you're being compassionate, you're helping out other people, you have to have scene safety. So you have to walk in, make sure that the place is safe to go into, because you don't want to be the second victim. So you don't want to be the second problem. You don't want to have more problems because you've helped people. Instead, you want to be able to help people and then have that enrich you and enrich them and make the world a better place. This is Reverend Sean. Talk to you later.